Hey everybody, it's Corona story time again. My name's Dave, and I'm going to be reading from my favorite book of, I think, 2017, When the English Fall, by David Williams. And I'll be reading sort of from the middle, just a couple of chapters. The day began, and the cool was in the air as the sun rose. Fall is so close now. Sadie is helping more. Jacob was milking this morning, but she was near the house, moving methodically through the last of the ever-bearing strawberries, filling a small basket with the fruit. It is so late to be gathering them, but they keep coming. Joseph Fisher told me that last year. They still had ever-bearing strawberries coming in late October. Of course, the frost and that one huge early snow came, but it was still so very late. Sadie and Hannah spent the morning working on strawberry preserves, and Jacob and I killed and plucked that hen and 2 broilers we'd been fattening up. It was a slow day, a calm day. I went to sit near the road and chewed on a bit of straw and watched the English roar by in their cars, car after car. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Such a hurry. But for me it was restful, a Sabbath, though not the Sabbath. Sadie was still outside, though it had been dark for several hours. I heard Hannah call for her, and Sadie replied, but I did not hear what Sadie said. I went to the kitchen, and Hannah told me to go talk with her. What did she say? I asked. Just talk with her, Hannah asked. She was trying not to be upset. And so I went, and I sat, and I asked her what she was doing. She was not upset. She was not unhappy. She looked at me with her large eyes set kind and sad into that slender face, and she smiled. I'm waiting for the angels, Daddy. I want to see them when they come. I asked her what that meant, but she just smiled and shook her head. You'll see, Daddy. Then she asked, Daddy, can you stay with me? Can you sit a while? I said that I could. If it takes 3 nights or even 7? She asked. I told her that I could. It is very soon, Daddy, she said. Very soon. I'm glad you'll sit with me. And so we sat for an hour, saying little. My concern faded as she nestled against me. After a while, she gave me a little hug and went in to go to bed. She did not seem upset. Hannah and I talked afterward, and I told her what Sadie had said. She asked what it meant again, and I said what I had said before. She is not angry or afraid, I added, and she has been doing so well in the kitchen and around the house. I know, Hannah said, and then she paused as if to say more, but she did not. September 21st. After breakfast, today was mostly apple picking. The Fishers came to join in, and then the Sorensens, as our 1.5 acres of trees was ready for picking, and the 4 of us can only gather in so much. Deacon Sorensen brought his big wagon and 3 of his sons and the eldest wife and her new baby. We moved from tree to tree in groups that mingled and changed. Jacob was a help, of course, and Sadie was very busy. She laughed and passed a smile to the middle Fisher boy. Then she went back with Hannah and Mrs. Sorensen and Mrs. Fisher to help prepare the meal for tonight. The baskets filled quickly and the 2 wagons were soon loaded. The yield was not as much as the year before, and many of the apples were small, but it was still in abundance. After a long, slow day, 22 bushels, with much still left on the trees. There would be plenty for sale, and for cider, and for preserves. Then there was talking, and lemonade, and some early cider. For dinner, ham and freshly baked bread, and beans in the cool of the late afternoon. Deacon Sorensen said a simple blessing, as is his way. It was a very nice day. Sadie sat out again tonight, watching the sky as the stars appeared. I sat with her, of course. We mostly talked about the day and the picking, and when I mentioned Sam Fisher, she may have blushed a little, but it was dark. The air was cool, and as the night grew deeper, it took on the scent and crispness of autumn. Another night like this, and we will need a fire in the stove, I said to Sadie. I love to just watch the fire in the fireplace, she said. So pretty as it dances. I agreed. We sat for maybe an hour until the sky was fully dark, and then she said, Not tonight. and gave me a little hug and went to prepare for bed. September 22nd. And on the third night, the angels came and filled the heavens. It began in early evening as I watched, sitting with Sadie again, just as she had asked. It was just darking, the last colors of the sun vanishing, the first stars showing, the light of the town brightening. It had been a beautiful sunset. And then they came. A flicker here and a flicker there, color danced in the sky. Then sheets of it, brighter and brighter, dancing wild sheets cast across the skies, beautiful purples and blues and pinks. The sky became full of them, dancing, waving, and pulsing. They would fade a little and strengthen, and then grow stronger and stronger. So beautiful, but terrible. What was this? Angels? It was not as I would have thought. So bright and silent, I do not know. I do not yet know. Hannah came, and Jacob, and we watched together as the wings of angels lit the skies and the earth glowed under the warm light. Jacob laughed and pointed and jumped around at the joy of it. Then it grew so bright that it was brighter than midnight under a full moon, bright enough to see my hand, to see the house. Angel wings dipped, radiant with color, and touched the earth. There was a feeling of strangeness in the air. I do not know what it was, but the hairs on my arm rose. From fear, perhaps, because it was strange, but also because the air seemed sharp with something. I do not know, but the smell changed. "Daddy, it's so bright. What is that smell?" asked Jacob, suddenly stilled, his voice filled with awe and alarm. Hannah pulled in close, but Sadie stood separate, looking up, rocking back and forth a little. It went on, radiant and terrible and beautiful. We stood silent. And then Jacob said, "Daddy, look, there are no lights in the town now," he said, "and there are no lights on the road." It was true, and he was excited and frightened and looking everywhere and talking. And then he pointed up. "Look at the plane," he called out. And there was an airplane, a big one. It was not where the planes normally fly, high and moving north or south. The silhouette was low and large. There were no lights on it or in it, just the beautiful light dancing on and behind it. It was sideways. It was coming down. I could see both wings bent back, dark like a broken cross, and it was floating downward, downward, very slow. It was very wrong. I began to pray. The plane moved down southward like a dark, wind-blown leaf against the color-splashed sky. We lost it to view behind the trees, and then there was a faint flash, and a few seconds later, a crump like a short peal of thunder. "Oh, blessed Jesus, all those people," said Hannah, and she began to pray softly and in earnest, her whispered prayers melding with mine. Still the skies danced, so bright, so silent. And a few seconds later, another flash to the north, and a minute later, another to the southwest. Sadie turned to us, and her eyes were huge and wet with tears. "The English fall," she said. And then she went inside, away from the light that filled the sky over the darkened earth. That's enough for now, I think. Thanks, have a good day.